I think some more people would be joining soon. Another 1 minute, we'll wait, then we'll start. Okay, let me start. So, last day we have discussed about the basics of measurement system. Measurement system means what we discussed that it consists of several blocks in cascade, not only the sensor but its signal conditioning circuit, signal uh, signal processing part, as well as the display part, data display part. So it is a concatenation of several blocks there. Sensor is just a part of it, and we mentioned that to understand all the things there, working of the instrument or like this there, we'll have to look into the proper coordination of all the blocks there. So that was the measurement system. Now we'll start today about the measurement system specifications. What is meant by this measurement system specifications? If you go through any instrument, you have it, you will find it, or rather you want to purchase or like this. If you go to the website or any here there, company profile, you will find that it has got a lot of one a catalog, and where a good amount of specifications are given about the performance of the instrument, how does it work, where it is suitable, where it is not suitable, all those things are given there. So from this one, uh, after reading it, you may get some idea whether in your quest, in your requirement, the instrument fits you or it is suitable for your purpose. So this reading and understanding the specifications or the meaning of the specifications is very important. At the same time, if you are working with an instrument manufacturer, it is also important that whatever you have designed, you want to make it a product, you need to nicely draw the specification of the product. So instrument specification or the measurement system specification is very important out of it. So we'll start with the measurement system specification, because if we have something there, then in the catalog, what does it mean and what do they mean, and like this there. So that gives you an idea about the performance of the instrument. So this finally they give it, these are the characteristics of the measurement system. We'll find there are two types of characteristics. We call it a static characteristics and one is dynamic characteristics. So here the static characteristics means basically the performance when the input is constant or varying very slowly. Okay. So normally, say suppose some of the inputs, say suppose the temperature, they do not change very fast. So in the atmospheric temperature or like this. So either if it is changing very slowly or it is somehow it is held constant, then the characteristics we call it a static characteristics. And while the dynamic characteristics is that performance with time varying input. Okay. So naturally, these two types we may find it. That means how fast it reacts to the time varying signal, that is the dynamic characteristics, and the static characteristics is that if the input is held constant, how is its performance, and it is here. So first of all, for the static characteristics, what we call it first of all is called range, or sometimes it is called span. So range is obvious, in which range the instrument is designed to operate. So here it is the defines the the minimum and maximum values of the input and output. So what is the range? It is the instrument, the system is designed for. So what is the recommended range? The minimum value and the output and the maximum value. What is the thing? So for example, it could be for a pressure gauge. It is say 0 to. So what we can say, it is a 0 to 50 kg per centimeter square for a pressure gauge. And this is maybe input, and output may be 4 to 20 milliampere. So this is, if it may be a pressure gauge which measures pressure, where the input is varying between 0 to 50 kg per centimeter square, or maybe or the output is 4 to 20 milliampere. So the input and output, it is said that okay, this will be your input and output range. So this is, and sometimes it is called a span also, that is the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value. Next is what is called a sensitivity. If we look at it, that if I draw it, this is your input and this is your output, you may find that the characteristics is like this. Obviously, it may be a linear, it may be a non-linear, but wherever it is, the characteristics is linear, the characteristics in this zone, say suppose a linear characteristics, then what we call it the slope. Sensitivity is basically slope of the curve input output of the, that is the characteristics curve in the linear range. That means that is the incremental output by incremental input. So this is your sensitivity. We call it like this there. It may be a thermocouple or a temperature sensor. It may be, say, suppose sensitivity is 1 or 10 millivolt per degree Celsius, or you know, uh, 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 or maybe, so this is your temperature sensor sensitivity. Similarly, the sensitivity of a pressure sensor or a displacement sensor, or all the things there where it is called the sensitivity. But mind it, it is the sensitivity is taken at the point where it is linear. So we will have to choose a linear point, then only we can say. And obviously, the sensitivity may vary not only if the operating point changes, but also we'll come to it. The sensitivity may vary with other disturbances or other what we call it no, undesired inputs there. We'll come to that one afterwards. So this is what we call it a sensitivity, and this one. Next is that linearity. So you may find that a pressure gauge is given as a 50 millivolt, sensitivity is given by 50 millivolt per Pascal, that is the sensitivity. The range may be 0 to 5 pascals or 10 pascals or like this there. But what does it mean? Means that, okay, with a linearity of 1%. What does it mean? What do we mean that the linearity is 1%? Interestingly, linearity is a measure of nonlinearity. That means it is actually, if it is linear, if it is range that linearity is 1%, it is a measure of nonlinearity. Or if it is another instrument, it is the linearity is 10%. So it means that 10% is more non-linear characteristics than the linear characteristics there. So what we can say is that if we put it, say suppose the input and output characteristics. Okay. Say suppose this is Imax and this is your I min, and this is O min, that is the minimum output, and this is O max. Okay, and this is your ideal characteristics. So, ideal characteristics between the input and output is linear. But actual will differ in different ways, or like this. Maybe the actual is, the characteristics is like this. So, I have maximum deviations at this point, and we call it O max 1, or rather O1 simply I put it, and this is your O2. So, it is, this is a actual and like this. So, what we find, tell it, that is we define delta O is equal to, okay, I call it delta O1 and delta O2. That is the deviations. It is the maximum of delta O1 and delta O2. It could be both here positive and negative, and whatever that is, I am telling the the magnitude only. I am telling about the magnitude only. So, the linearity is expressed as delta O divided by O max minus O min. Okay. And normally linearity is expressed in percentage. So, here it is in percentage if we multiply it by percentage. So, naturally it is more characteristics, if it tends to more linear characteristics or the ideal characteristics, delta O will be small. So, linearity of 1% is better than the linearity of 10% or 5%. So, basically linearity is a figure which from this one we can assess that what would be the characteristics, or what would be the measure of the non-linearity of like this thing. Okay. The next, so all the things, whenever I am telling this linearity, range and all the things, they all refer to the static characteristics, because here we are saying that whenever I am making the measurements, the input is held constant almost, or it is varying very slowly, which is not detectable. Similar to the linearity case, another important thing is what is called hysteresis. Interestingly, the hysteresis is not only present in magnetic material, but present in several instruments also, while we characterize its input and output characteristics. It may be because of the, basically you know the hysteresis is that input output characteristics will be different. That means in one, while increasing and while decreasing. So, it could be something like this. You may find that While increasing, it is taking this path, and while decreasing, it is taking a different path. So, this is refers to this hysteresis. That means the input and output characteristics is not identical. While we increase this one, while we decrease that one. Why it is so? There are many reasons. One is that obviously if we are going for magnetic measurement, if there is any iron path in it, there could be an obvious iron hysteresis due to this iron. But many other reasons are also there, that first of all, if it is some sort of elastic materials, if we go for the pressure gauge or Bourdon tube pressure gauge, we will find the materials are some elastic materials, and where the input output, the deflection and the pressure are like this. These two things do not follow identical while increasing pattern, while increasing and while decreasing. Similar thing is that many of the instruments, they have some gears in it, and these gears have some play there, and due to which the hysteresis may also change. Now basically, as I told from the first day's lecture, whatever we speak about, we need to express it in numbers. We need to express it in numbers. So naturally, then only we can be more confident. We can about what we are speaking. So naturally, hysteresis also we try to express it in this manner also, like this. So here it is O min, and this is your O max is the output and input, and here the maximum okay, I can put it H itself. The maximum width of this one is, say, suppose H. So in that case, hysteresis is expressed as is equal to H divided by O max minus O min into 100, and expressed in percentage. So the hysteresis is also the same way we express it in linearity. So smaller hysteresis is better always, and here also the smaller linearity is always better, or like this there. Next is our resolution. Resolution is basically, it is the minimum change of input which is detectable at the output. Okay. So if we look at it, the input and output we had considered to be exactly linear like this there. Exactly linear like this there. But there may be two cases due to which this will not be exactly linear, but this input output characteristics may be some sort of staircase type. Some sort of staircase type. Why I am explaining it? Okay. Why? There are two reasons. Maybe first reason is that maybe at the digital output we have it. That means at the output we measure the output using a digital voltmeter or like this. Or basically the output is which was analog, I digitize it with an AD converter or like this. So basically if we say the resolution and say suppose we consider it simply an AD converter. So you can say it is a suppose full scale is equal to say 5 volt and say number of bits is equal to 8. Then what does it mean? The minimum detectable signal in this case is equal to 5 divided by, so this is a 0 to 5 volt range we have it, and this one how much we are resolving in the frame of this one 2 to the power 8 minus 1, that is a 255 we are giving. So naturally this is the output will change in steps. It is not, it will be continuous because it limits by the number of bits. So if the number of bits are more, then the minimum detectable signal will become less. And this is minimum detectable signal is this one. I think this should be in the range, it is something like 19.6 millivolt or something like that. So if the input is below 19.6 millivolt, from this point to this point, we will not see any change in output. So that is what we call it a resolution there. Okay. So resolution sometimes also in percentage is expressed in either it is given in this way, the resolution is this much input or change in input it is detectable, but sometimes it is expressed in this way. Say suppose this is your steps delta I, so that is equal to delta I divided by I max minus I min into 100. This is way also in percentage we express it. Otherwise also the resolution can be expressed in this way as dynamic range it is also expressed as dynamic range is equal to measurement range by resolution. So there are different ways we can do it. So for this example, for AD converter, got this 8-bit AD converter, we can say it is the measurement range is 5 volt and the resolution is basically 2 to the power 5 divided by 2 to the power 8 minus 1. So basically it is coming to be 255, and normally expressed in dB, it is coming is that 20 log of 255. It comes to be approximately 48 dB. So, the resolution, if it is written as 48 dB, that means you can also, the dynamic range, if it is given in this way, you can find out what is the resolution of it. But, so you can say that obviously if it is a digital readout or a digital display or a digital measuring scheme, there would be always this sort of staircase relationship of the input and output, and this sort of resolution is important. If there is no digital theoretically characteristics, so theoretically the resolution will be 0, or rather we tell it, it is an infinitely resolvable. That means it is a minimum detectable signal is 0. All the slight change theoretically it is possible. If we use a good instrument, you can detect the slight change here. But there are certain cases in the instruments also, this sort of staircase characteristics you can observe, where I can tell you some example there. Example is that potentiometer. You have it. So, this is a resistance and this is what we call it an wiper. Okay. So, it could be a potentiometer, could be a displacement sensing element, because as x changes, the output voltage V0 will change, and similarly x versus x V0, I can get some linear characteristics provided the resistance is linear. But I will tell you, there is always a possibility the potentiometer will give you this sort of staircase output. How? Because this wiper, which is not a point, but it is certain of having certain length here. And the potentiometer, you know that these are wares are wound like this there, wound over a particular format there. So, there would be always some possibility and there will always chance that this wiper will connect or show this both the 2 points, this point as well as this point, this one will be giving you, it will be touching this one. So, naturally in that case this will not be exactly a linear characteristics, but it will be moving in terms of this sort of staircase type behavior. So, this staircase type behavior is not only for the ADC or this having a digital type of behavior, but available in the potentiometers also. You may get this sort of behavior. So, this resolution is important. This one. Is it clear up to this? Any question? Any question? Okay. Then we, if it is clear, so we have discussed the basics of what we have. It is the range, sensitivity, linearity, hysteresis and resolution. And in fact, these are the most important parameters which are given in a specifications. Okay. But there are few more important thing is that, and obviously you must have studied it in your measurement also, course also. That is what is called accuracy. So here is your measurement system. Here is the input and here is the output characteristics there. Rather, I would put it in this way, that is the true value and this is your measured value. So, you are measuring the temperature of a furnace or this room or like this. You don't know the temperature exactly. Say somehow somebody measured it very accurately and then I will call it a true value. And I measured the same thing is your measurement system, which gives you some measured value like this here. So the error is given as measured value minus true value. Okay. And often expressed in as a percentage, as that measured value minus true value divided by the measured value and as a percentage are like this. So in that case, as a percent, rather it is divided by, we pull it, better we put it a full scale reading. It is, there are many ways of defining it. Somebody says measured value minus true value divided by measured value. But I am putting it in this way, measured value minus true value divided by full scale reading, which is more useful for our instrument. And there it is, 100 we multiply and like this. So this is your accuracy. Okay. So naturally, how close accuracy stays says that, okay, how close it is like this there. So if it is a temperature indicator, if it is said that it is a accuracy, even we'll see it is like this accuracy plus minus 0.5% and full scale range is equal to say 0 to 500 degrees Celsius. Then what is the accuracy means? Accuracy means it is of the 0.5% of the 500 degrees centigrade. That means what is the meaning? That is the temperature may vary by plus minus, what is that? 2.5 degree centigrade. That means whatever we say that, okay, I make it like this, it is if you operate the instrument in the 0 to 500 degrees Celsius, I tell you at any point the temperature will be approximately, we can say that it deviate less than 2.5 degree Celsius like this. 2.5 degree Celsius, we just put it in this way. But normally it is the accuracy is plus 0.5% normally at full scale range. What point you, at what scale you operate, that is often is given like this. Okay. Now, with accuracy, often one term is used, I mean simultaneously or very closely related one is called a precision. So, often we say that okay, this is a precision instrument or like this is an accurate instrument, but without understanding fully the meaning of the precision there. What I wanted to say is that the this is your this instrument or the measurement system and any system, you will be learning control systems also. So, any system, what we have it is some measured or rather input to be measured, and this is your output. Okay. So, this is your designated input which we want to measure like this there. But there are, so this is what we call it in control systems language or like this we call it an input, desired input or something like this there. This is your input there. But there may be so many other inputs are there that we call it an undesired input. Undesired input means suppose we were dealing with a pressure gauge which will have a pressure and our output, desired output will be our desired output which should be proportional or related to the this in measured input only. That means our pressure gauge output should be related or it will be dependent on the input pressure only, but not input temperature. That means, but the point is that your ambient temperature may change. If there is an ambient temperature, if it is a changing there, we will come to those things, aspects, more details afterwards. If the ambient temperature is changing, maybe the output will also change. That means you can say if the desired input is a pressure and undesired input is actually the temperature. That is, we don't want that the output should be affected by the undesired input there. Output should be affected by the undesired input line. So naturally the point is that the better the instrument would be if it is sensitive only to the input, desired input, but it is not sensitive to the undesired input. Or I can put it in terms of the like this there, if we take the input to be measured the same, but under different conditions, if we, and at different days when the temperature and many other ambient parameters may change. So if the output for the same input, if I take the readings at different days for the same input measured, and if the output remains the same, then I say it is a precision instrument. So what we can say, precision indicates the repeatability and or reproducibility of an instrument. So So it is basically, if an instrument is used to measure the same input at different days of the different time of a day or different day, that means the repeatable, it should be repeatedly. The output should be repeated. The output should not change if the input is changed, if the input is held constant. That is, that these precision instrument means this output will not be affected by this undesired input there. In control systems language, we call it disturbance. So we can put it in this way that okay, more disturbance rejection is in the sense of instrumentation. It is a precision instrument. Okay. So basically, there are many. If we consider these inputs are basically, we'll call it, discuss it afterwards. But there is a difference between accuracy and precision. It is a very standard question. What is the difference between accuracy and precision? You must understand between this accuracy and precision. So precision does not, it's a good quality instrument definitely, but it does not mean that it is an accuracy, it is an accurate instrument also. To explain this one actually very nicely, some books explain it with a pictorial view. I will try to explain it in that one. The difference between precision and accuracy. What is it? You know, the shooting target. We had Olympics, so a few days back. So you must have seen this sort of shooting targets are there, and people, maybe archery, maybe rifle shooting, or like this, they try to hit the bullseye. Okay. Now, some people, somebody like this one, which is a bad shooter, what will be like me also? If I try to shoot it like this, definitely number of things will be out of this reach of this circles. Some of them, if they reach there, it would be hitting some things there. So it is spreading over these points, these points, these points. We are hitting at different points there. But the point is that there is no consistency. There is no consistency. So what we can say is that, so low precision, because the repeatability is poor, and also we can say it is a low accuracy also, because we have not reached only maybe one, but others are not reached like this. So the low accuracy also. But say suppose we have maybe the fly of the rifle is slightly disturbed and like this, and I am a big good shooter, but because of the fly of it, it's slightly disturbed, so I am not being able to see the bullseye at a proper place or like this. So as a result, all our shoots are very close by, but far away from the bullseye. Then what I will call it? I will call it as a good precision but low accuracy. Okay? So it's a good precision but low accuracy like this. But on the other hand, who wins the gold, he will definitely shoot it like this. All of them will go at the point here. So what I will call it? We call it a good precision and good accuracy. This is important. So, what we can say, a good precision does not always mean that it is a good accuracy. But on the other hand, if it is accurate, it must be precise also. If it is accurate, it must be precise also. So, this is the thing we must be able to understand the difference between a precision and accuracy. Precision is the repeatability. So, you can repeat at a wrong point, but if you are accurate, because accurate point is this one there, it must be precision there. Often, precision is given because if I consider that the undesired input are Gaussian in nature, then the standard deviation may be used as a measure of precision. So, if I consider there are all random inputs, undesired inputs, it may vary randomly like this. So, we can say that you treat them statistically and measure the standard deviation, and this is a measure of standard precision. It could be, that means a low standard deviation means all the readings are very close by, repeated readings are very close by. So, the standard deviation is low, that means we can say the precision is high. But definitely the precision high is a desirable property, but not that does not satisfy that the accuracy will be high there. And for that one, maintaining the accuracy, the instrument quality must be high, as well as it is required to calibrate the instrument properly like this thing. I would simply, before we go for it, give a break, I just try to give you one problem, then we'll give a break and then try to solve it. Any question up to this? You are free to ask any question at any point and interrupt me. You can say a laser type displacement sensor. Specifications of a laser type displacement sensor. What is it? A measurement range is equal to plus minus 10 millimeter. B measurement point is 40 millimeter. That means that the object is at a distance of 40 millimeter, but this is the nominal value, but may change, the position may change from by plus minus 10 millimeter from the nominal value. That means it may be 30 millimeter away, it may be 50 millimeter away there. Resolution is equal to 3 millimeter. Linearity (1% of full scale). Then, so suppose if the distance is 35 millimeter, oh, acha, okay, what I say is the output is 4 to 20 milliampere. That means this output, it gives you 4 to 20 milliampere as it varies between plus minus 10 millimeter from this one. If the distance is 35 millimeter, what would be the find output, the sensitivity, and this one error due to nonlinearity. So I wanted that measurement range is plus minus 10 millimeter, measurement point is 40 millimeter, resolution is 3 millimeter, linearity is 1% of full scale, output is this one. I just put it like this there. So my point is that what is the error due to the nonlinearity there? Okay. So let us give some break, 5 minutes break, and then we'll come back about this one. By this time, do you have any questions? You may ask me, and you may try to solve this problem also.